Okay, Alex, the real person I can't really get into that much. She lives, for whatever reason, when all those girls retired, they moved down to the Gulf Coast. And Alex and Nikki both live on the Gulf. Alex started as a streetwalker, worked her way up, and was one of the most successful madams in Atlanta. Worked out of a penthouse, and she eventually brought in one of our characters, Nikki. And when Alex retired, she sold her black book to Nikki. Well, the book had a street value of $500,000, but because it was Nikki, and she pointed this out to Sly, her lawyer, that she had plenty of money because of him. So she sold Nikki the book for $250,000, and she told Sly to break it up into payments so that it wouldn't overload Nikki. And Nikki became very, very successful. But they're both retired now. In fact, this last almost hurricane they had in the Gulf Coast area, they both called me to tell me they were okay and all of that. But Alex was a piece of work. I mean, you could hear the wheels turning all the time. I really liked Alex. We went together for a while, and she ran a very tight ship. Literally on the street. When I got out of law school, I was what I wanted to do was I wanted to work with professional criminals. That's a very difficult group to crack into because they don't know, number one, they don't know if you know what you're doing, but more importantly, they don't know if you can stand the pressure. So, like anybody trying to work in criminal law, I was taking what I could get my hands on. If you want to get technical about it, Frank hits John in the head with a beer bottle. That's criminal law. That's not the kind of criminal law I wanted to practice. And there were some big time criminals here in the Atlanta area, but I had to work my way up, work the ranks. So a guy named Sly Henritzi pulled me in, sort of kept me under his wing, and he would start throwing me little cases to see if I could handle them and this and that and the other. And he was the one that introduced me to Pauline. Pauline was the wealthiest madam that I ever met, but it was because not of just her business, but when I met Pauline, she was around 80 and had operated a bordello on Clay Street in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Well, what finally put her out of business was not the police, it was urban renewal. They had cut through a ramp going to a highway, and that put her out of business. She was the only madam that I've ever met that had a branch office, and it was in Washington, D.C. But where she made the bulk of her money was, in fact, she almost fired Sly because of it. She was one of the first investors in Polaroid and Xerox. And Sly thought it was a harebrained idea. He said, it's ridiculous. Whoever heard of a photograph developing itself? So he wouldn't invest the money. So she got a hold of him and she said, either invest or get on board with me or I'm going to fire you. So they invested early on, and she became super wealthy. The woman she had hospitals built, and but she was what Alex would have gotten to had Alex not retired. But the earmark for a working girl was age 30. If a girl would start when they were, say, 17 or 18 years old, they could walk away by the time they were 30 and literally never do anything else the rest of their life. But Alex pushed it another 10 years. So when she retired, she was 40. And she had it was a combination, they would usually have a combination birthday party and retirement party. And Alex had a big party, and I remember she had little buttons printed up that said 40, twice as good as 20. So that was Alex.
So tell me about Nikki. She's a very